Hello, everybody. How are you doing? So excited to be back. I don't know about you, but it's been a long weekend of non-real estate activities, lots of family. How was your Thanksgiving break?
No, it was great. It was amazing, actually. So I did a little bit of work though. Got some rental stuff figured out, some hard money. Then got some of our team stuff figured out, just like in the beginning of the week, But honestly, it was a little bit different this year than previous years for sure. But it was good. I answered
Hey,
some coaching questions, did some stuff,
I was gonna
etc.
say just a little bit gets the needle moving forward, so that's a
Yeah,
good
I always
thing.
try to do a little bit every single day, a little something every single day, even on a Sunday. So,
Baby steps. I will say this, cool things that happen, staying in touch with past clients. So I know we talked about
yes.
this a while ago, and I actually had a call from someone who I didn't remember ever having spoken with. So for any of you that are like, oh, you have clients that you don't remember, I had a client that I didn't quite remember, and I went ahead and took the call and chatted with them, and they're like, hey, we're ready to go. We already picked the house. We know him. They're neighbors of ours. We're ready to rock and roll. Pre-approved, and we just had such a great experience with you and your team that we really wanted to come back to you. And I'm like, who are you? So I got their
Yeah.
pre-approval, and I went and looked it up, and it's sure enough, it was an agent that had been on my team a long time ago, back in 2020.
Oh,
And
damn.
yeah, this just goes to show you, and it's funny because there's two aspects to this. So they were back in 2020, and I looked it up, and it looks like it was a member of my team that had worked the deal, but I had helped him work it because he was newer. And they recently bought a house like 4 months
Mm.
ago. And he mentioned that. He said, I think, if we get this one, we'll sell the other one. So it could be a double deal. And I'm like, okay, great. Tell me about it. Basically, they're buying a house for their parents, is what it is. But here's the interesting part. They used a different agent 4 months ago. And what that tells me is, why didn't they call the agent they just used?
Yeah.
So obviously, I wasn't going to question that. I was just thankful for them to have called me. But it seems that some people have the impression that every agent is the same until they experience something differently. And it's like, oh, not all agents are the same. This is like a
No.
completely different experience than we had the last time we bought a house. So we're going back to the original person we had. So it was an aha for me, even to, sometimes, and I'm sharing this with you guys because sometimes you get in your head like, oh, well, I'm sure someone else can help them, or I'm sure this is how it always goes. If you put the right experience there for your clients, they will come back, which is really cool.
Yeah. That's one of the things I think that's going to be great about this market, right? Even have you heard of 72 Sold by chance, Kayla?
No.
So 72 Sold's like the biggest producing brokerage here in Arizona. Anyways, they have commercials like going on all the time. They've done really well, but they're starting to talk about the down market, right? So down market, we can get you X amount of dollars more than what you think that you can get at XYZ, right? So,
Yep.
but now that we are in it, like everybody's starting to see that the market's changed and, it's a down market, if you will. I mean, I could go into that, but we're going to start losing more agents, which I think is going to be one of the key parts where you're going to gain more business, right? Like the pie might be smaller for transaction count, but the agent count is going to be down as well. So you're going to have more of those opportunities. And I probably said this like 5 times over the course of us doing this, but one of the biggest, hardest things for me to overcome in my career was how often agents were getting their licenses that were cousins, friends, uncles of a client of mine, and then they feel obligated to use that person. Right now that they're out of the business, now hopefully I'll get the call, because I had a good transaction. And I've had plenty of people that have called me after they've used those people and been like, "Man, I really wish I would have used you. I had to
Hmm.
use this particular one." So,
Which is
yeah.
so true. And I think we've got to come to the realization, like, that's not a bad thing. Like we
No.
had a family member, I'm sure we would expect them to use us and vice versa. It's just part of how it is. You give your family members a try. But like you just mentioned, it doesn't always work out. So for that being said, there are opportunities for you guys to really dive in and start, rekindling, I guess you could say, those relationships, and see what you can do for those people to help get
Yeah.
them
Yep, I agree.
Right. Heck yeah, I love it.
100%, especially during the holidays. And there's like, you could mail thank you cards. You could take a picture with your family, have the title company make a postcard, and then you send out that postcard that just says, "Hey, this is how our year has gone. You know, Clayton, Claire, 3 and 5. We've done amazing. Homeschool's been great. You know, Claire's getting really smart. And in terms of work, we sold over 250 homes this year, again, which has been great. Obviously, market's been tough. Yada yada yada. Right? So you can go into your personal and your business life, and yeah, it'll make a difference for sure.
I love it. I love it.
Yep.
Well, you guys, welcome. Welcome to Monday morning. It is the Monday after Thanksgiving. Hopefully you are stuffed, you are full, and you are ready for some real estate. So we're going to dive in today and just really give it to you. So there's some really exciting things that we've got going on that I'm pretty stoked about. I know we've had a lot of people that have been asking us for this, and now it has come to fruition, which is coaching. I know we've been coaching you, right? That's exactly what we've been doing, is coaching you guys. But what we're going to be doing now is we actually have officially, we're launching our coaching program, which is really cool, for $69 a month, and I'm pretty excited about it. But I wanted to share with you guys, we're going to talk a little bit about why coaching, right? Because I think that's one of the biggest. I know I get this question, like, do I need a coach? Should I have coaching in my life? You know, I'm on all these websites. I'm with EXP and they've got coaching, out the butt. The challenge is a lot of people don't know what to apply, right? So sometimes you get analysis paralysis because you're sitting there coaching, but it's not coaching. Like, you're taking lots of classes and you're not
Yeah.
applying. So we figured we'd take this morning to talk about why you need a coach, why and how you can apply coaching to your real estate business. Like, what is that something that you need to apply, and how do you actually do it versus just tuning in and tuning out. And just kind of highlighting, both of us have coaches to this
Yeah.
day. Like the GOAT, Tom Brady, he has a coach. He has multiple coaches for nutrition, for fitness, for mindset, like all of these things. They pay coaches. And I'll share a story with you. I don't know if you knew this. Conor McGregor, back in the day, he was crushing it. He's still crushing it, right? And he was doing really, really well, making all this money. And he happened to talk to one of his colleagues. And one of his colleagues, he noticed that he had like a doctor that would literally travel with him, a nutritionist that would travel with him, a fitness. And he's like, why the hell are you spending all that money on all these people? Because they're not cheap, right? If you've got a fitness
Yeah.
person or like a nutritionist following you all over the world, it's not cheap. And what he realized was he hit a ceiling in his ability to do what he did. And he ended up going to like a Tony Robbins event, I think it was. And actually, Tony came to one of his biggest fights to support him, because he kind of hired Tony for his mindset. But what he realized was, once he started getting really serious on his basic skill sets, like the basic things that would alter his game and one up everybody else, it was his nutrition, his fitness, and his mindset. And he hired coaches for all of it. And that's what took him to his championship. So like, you can be really great, but until you get really serious about what you want, and then you invest in those things into yourself, it's not going to come to fruition the way you want it to. You may still be successful, don't get me wrong, but I know you probably have a story to share about kind of your breakthrough with coaching as well.
Yeah. For one, I think that's amazing, the Conor McGregor story. Brandon on Bigger Pockets, that was a main host over there.
Yep.
Beardy Brandon, he's got a
Oh, yeah.
mindset coach, and he talks about it. He's got tons of coaches. So you're never, if you always want to improve yourself, especially in, and I was thinking about this morning. I said, I prepared myself. The down market didn't prepare me for the up market. I prepared myself for the up market, right? And I pictured myself like running on an uphill and constantly going. And once I got past that really, really steep uphill side, there's a little bit more uphill. And then as the market got really good, my skill set was so awesome, because I've done so much coaching and because I've done practice my skill set, that eventually it's like, and I could hit all the jumps, everything, and take basically all the coins, right? Like if you were playing a game.
Mario. Are you singing Mario? Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, totally. And it just like that, when I was in that down market, I knew that it was going to change, right?
Yeah.
And I said, dude, if I could just get really, really good at this for when it does change, like who knows what the world's going to be like. And I have friends that are going through some pretty tough stuff in their life, right? And they're they didn't do coaching, they didn't do prospecting, they didn't do any of that stuff. Sure, did they make 200 grand a year during the great years? Yeah, but I made over $1 million. Like I made $1 million more dollars than they did per year, right? And now they're 60, 90 days without an escrow and without any good leads, and they don't know how to prospect. They don't know how to do all that stuff. So
No.
learn it now so that when when the market goes back up, you're able to take advantage of it. When the market goes down, you're not afraid of the market going down because you're in control of your own destiny because you have the skill set. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war, right? Meaning
Ooh, I
like,
love that.
yeah. And for me, when I met with my one buddy and he told me this, thought to myself, thank God I worked so freaking hard. Like, did he probably have more family time and more like hobby time and stuff like that in the beginning of, because we started basically at the same time? Yeah. But now that this has happened, he's stressed, right? And I'm like, I'm just kicking back. I got my
Uh-huh.
300 grand of income coming in per year. Like, I'm going to see how this goes. And even if I didn't have that income coming in, I still know that I could kick it back on. Just like you can kick it on whenever you want to, and
Yeah.
you can go kick butt. I mean, you were telling me success stories of like 3 listings that you have coming up, right? And that was
Mhm.
before your Thanksgiving call from that client that said that they wanted to buy from you. And then you started implementing your ISA stuff. Like, if you can build your foundation right now, this is the most important time to build your foundation so that you can take advantage of the fruits that are going to be able to be harvested when the bad times turn good. So
I
train
love
yourself
that.
now. Yeah.
Well, and I would highlight on that too. So many people are nervous to invest in themselves right now. So, and this is in a lot of businesses, you guys. So one thing that I've been seeing from a lot of agents is they're looking where they can cut costs. Those that are wise are looking where they can cut costs, right? Because things have shifted. And I'm not, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like even you are having a decrease in number of transactions, but it doesn't
Oh
mean
yeah.
that things are
Yeah.
falling off of, a cliff. And with
Yeah.
that being said, people start to panic, right? Because we talked about this the other week. Get as many listings as you possibly can. But if you're staring at one listing where, a year ago, one listing, you're like, that's going to close. We don't know if it's going to close right now. We don't know when it's going to close. Like we get a listing, I'd be like, by Monday, we'll have this in the bag. By, 20 days out, we'll have a check. That
Hmm.
might not be true. And what I've noticed a lot of agents start doing is when they're contracting, when they're retracting, especially on their spending, which is smart, instead they're taking away from themselves and they're pouring it into leads and things like that. They're shifting their spending when instead what I would highly recommend is build yourself as the asset,
Yeah.
right? You're the one. I can hire a bunch of ISAs, they're still not going to do as well as I am on the phone, right? There
No.
might be some rock stars, but 90% of the time, I'm going to be the one that I will sit on the phone for a 30-minute conversation with an expired, as I did the other day, finding what's going on, finding that pain point, finding a solution for them. And before you know it, they're like, yeah, come out on Saturday and sign the documents, which is exactly what happened. And it's just
Yeah.
because I have that knowledge and that skill set because I invested in myself, because I invested in mindset and coaching and skills. But I think part of it is too, it's not knowing what coaching to get. So like the first time I ever signed up for coaching, I was with Keller Williams and I did MAPS coaching. I had a one-on-one coach and it was hit or miss, right? Like, I felt like I believed in myself more than she did. And I think that was the challenge, right? It was, oh, you don't need help until you hit X number of transactions. And I'm going, dude, I'm staying up like middle of the night doing paperwork. Like I think I do need help. My quality of life is I need help right now. And she was not on the same train of thought. So
Dang.
yeah, so a lot of
Yeah.
times when you have a coach though, it's one of those like, okay, well, they must know what's right. And I
Yeah.
finally kind of buck a little bit and say that's not what I want. So
Yeah.
like, we've both been through numerous coaches and coaching programs and masterminds and things of that nature. What I would tell all of you is you're not bound to a coach or a coaching style. Like if it's not working, go find something else because it might just not be right for you. Like I'm sure you've experienced this.
Yeah, I think if it's not working, this is just my opinion, but I don't think that you just go for the next coach. I think you challenge your coach to challenge you in different ways because I'm sure that they have that skill set, right? Or when you're interviewing a coach, like I've had a lot of people that have hired me for one-on-one because they they want what I've had, right? Like they want what I have at this point in time. And so they saw that similarity that they wanted this in their life, so they hired me, right? And honestly, like from a coach's standpoint, like a lot of times I feel a little insecure because I'm like, man, am I giving them everything that they need, right? Am I giving them like am I challenging them enough? Am I helping them enough? I know this is my way of success, but is this really the best way for their success? And so each student has helped me to get better at that. But yeah, I say first you give your coach that you hired a shot and say, hey, this is really what I'm looking for. I feel like it's not working out because this. Can we work on this? I'm going to give it 2 more sessions and that's it. If it changes, then we can move forward. If not, I got to go in a different direction, right? But that all boils down to the pre-interview of the coach that you want to potentially coach with and making sure they have what you want. So,
Oh, that's so good. And I would mention this too, because we both have one-on-one clients that we've worked with. And I
mhm.
think there's one misconception, and I've done this to myself as well, right? Like I've hired the coach that was literally the best of the best of the best in this specific category. The challenge was they were so far ahead of me that for them to relate back to where I was very challenging for them, right? So,
Yes.
so I'm sitting here going, I'm trying to build my business based on what they have currently and how they were coaching that. And I wasn't anywhere near that. I wasn't
Yeah.
anywhere near 60 agents on my team and like a bustling operations department. I mean, that's not where I was. I wanted to grow that team, but that comparison back and forth was just not there. So like when you guys are out selecting a coach, you might want someone that's just a few steps ahead or someone who specializes in people that are in a certain price range of, when I say price range, like income level, right? Like somebody who understands how to go from point A to point B and get you to that next step. But sometimes having somebody one-on-one way ahead of you isn't the best option. So that's
Yeah.
where like group coaching comes in. And I think that's where group coaching really just it strives and elevates because there's two big aspects to group coaching, right? Like one is you've got the coach or coaches that are teaching you, educating you, helping you get to that next step. But it's different than one-on-one because they don't know your specific numbers. So they're speaking in generalities, they're speaking in the basics and helping you build good, proper foundations. But the
Yep.
second part, it's the other people in the group coaching atmosphere,
Boom.
right?
Yeah.
That it's the people. And I think we've both experienced
Yeah. I agree. I think that's huge, Kayla. So I'm part of a group coaching uh, platform right now for coaching to be a coach, right? And man, I have learned so much from all those people. It's been absolutely incredible. And just like through the Facebook page, the group text and whatnot, just some of the stuff that they're sharing, I'm like, wow. And honestly, like they're sharing their wins, and I'm like, dude, I need to step up my game. Like somebody's already made 250 grand in like 3 months. I'm like, dang, what the heck, you know?
that.
And like I'm not even close to that number. So I always like to be in a group where like I'm not the smartest person, right?
Yeah,
And I like to be around other people that want to strive to be better, even if they're not as good as me, but they're striving to push that because
you're
you
pushing.
feel that pressure. You feel them at your back pushing, 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 pushing. And eventually they're gonna take your shirt and pull you down and move past you, because they're like, dude, you're not going. Like
Get
get
out of
out
the
of my way.
way.
I want to get to this place. You're in my way. So yeah. Um, and that'll eventually happen to me in my market at some point in time because I did that to a lot of people, right? When I first started, I'm behind them, kind of navigating, looking behind them, seeing what's out in front. And then eventually I'm like, dude, get out of my way, get out of my way. Like, I want this really bad. And it's
Yeah.
funny because I had a family member that apparently, how Thanksgiving gets, right? Everybody kind of gets together and then some years are really great. And this year was phenomenal. But we had a family member that apparently was saying stuff about everybody in the family, and one of them and that particular person had said that I was willing to climb to the top of the mountain over anybody, right? And I'm like, no, Actually, I wasn't. I just did the work and I went after it, right? Like if I saw something that was available, I was going to go get it. And if I was faster than that, or I was more like sniper approached on getting that, then I was going to get it. But no way would I step on somebody's like, or like
You
go
wouldn't
over my
tear
rules.
someone down to take their spot to move past them, or at someone's, you know, to spite someone or to hurt someone. It's more of a, I just did better because I applied the knowledge, period.
Exactly. Exactly. I just applied the knowledge and I had some motivation and I had a lot of freaking discipline, right? Because passion and motivation is only going to get you so far. Like it only does. You got to be disciplined and have goals. And honestly, I think being a part of masterminds and being part of group coaching and group coaching is what I needed in order to get to that next step. Just like Conor McGregor, I hit a ceiling, right? And
Yeah.
then in order to get past that ceiling, I needed to learn about financial freedom. I needed to learn about wholesaling. I needed to learn about fix and flips. I needed to learn about, you know, all kinds of stuff. And yeah,
No,
got me
I'm
where
right
I'm
there
at
with
now.
you. Well, and
Yeah.
I'm one of those people, I love to see other people's wins. So, for example,
Yeah.
I'm one of the hosts of American Dream TV, Charlotte, which is a national TV show. This one is specifically for Charlotte.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting because I'm in this mastermind with all these people as well. And in learning about what's going on, what other people are doing, I'm like, oh, wow, that's a great idea. And I'm taking notes. I'm like, I can interview this person or do this. And, part of being a host of this is not just, hey, I'm on TV, isn't that cool? One, it helps improve me taking listings because
Yeah.
we all get that question, right? You know the question, what do you do differently than my other agent, right? We all have our answer to that. I have plenty of answers to it. But one of my quickest ones is, well, I'm on a national TV program that highlights Charlotte and I have a following. So does your agent have that?
Yeah.
And it's that little
Yeah.
key piece. But it's interesting because it's not only how opening up business in that fashion, but it's making things more relevant. So I'm able to leverage. But it's interesting is I didn't know quite how to leverage it till I started really diving into this mastermind group and asking the questions and talking to the people. And I'm like, oh, this is really cool. I've these people understand it. They've been in it for a while. They've been doing this show for a while. And now I'm learning from people that are becoming really successful with it. So, asking questions and leveraging the people that you're meeting, I mean, that's where I've gotten some of the most, don't get me wrong, I've gotten value from the coaches that have coached me in group coaching courses, but it was those relationships that I created that have lasted beyond that. Because you and I have both outgrown masterminds, outgrown certain group
Yeah.
coaching courses. You will outgrow it, and that's okay. But the relationships that we made, such as me and you, right? Like that's where we met. Those
Yeah.
relationships into different things, which is
That's
really
the
cool.
thing. Yeah. That's the thing I was going to say is I might have outgrown those, but when I outgrew it, I took certain people with me, like you, Matt Beard, a little bit of Cody Barton. Like there's other people that I've taken with me to help me grow throughout that. But yeah, you outgrow it at some point, you know? Yeah, great point.
I mean, so I would say here's the other question that I get a lot, right? Because obviously one-on-one coaching is going to be more expensive because for your coach, they'll put it this way, they're spending a one-on-one significant amount of time with you and even preparation. Like I know both you and I, when we go into those conversations, we're legitimately prepping from our last call with you to say, okay, where were you at? What do we need to do? Here's a new tactic or way in which
Yeah.
we tackle this, right? Like we really want you to exceed where you're at, and it's accountability.
Yeah.
But group coaching courses, there are a ton of them, right? Like we know this. Anybody in real estate knows there's a ton of different types of group coaching. The question I get is, okay, which one's right for me? And how much should I be spending on this?
Yeah.
So which one's right for me is going to be a trial and error. Like that's all I can really tell you. It's trial and error. We've both done it. We've spent obscene, at least I have obscene amounts of money on certain coaches and coaching. And sometimes it didn't work out, but I had to take the bet on myself to see if it would work out. What I would say is a group coaching course that you could sign up for and it's a nominal cost, but that investment in yourself could bring you huge rewards. I think that's something that's worth it. So like, for
Yeah.
example, I'm seeing some group coaching courses, they're like $500 a month. And
Yeah.
that's great. To me, that's more of a mastermind, which we do have as well.
Yeah.
But for our group coaching course, we wanted to make it really easy to access. Like we wanted to be able to like give you guys what you need. Because I don't know about you, but I prefer to do business with other agents that know what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yep. If
So
I get somebody that's pretty excited and ready to go after it, like I got 2 team members right now and they've done really well, then yeah, I'll take them on. But otherwise, yeah, I'm just like you. I want them to. Yep.
yeah. So I mean, with ours, with what we're giving you guys, so I wanted to give you a rundown on like what's actually to be expected. Obviously, us, which is helpful. So yes, we will be your coaches. But we're also going to have people that are going to come in as guest speakers from time to time to make sure you guys are getting a well-rounded, because I think that's one thing that I've noticed with some group coaching. Like, yeah, you're great with FSBOs, I'm great with expireds, you're great with creating, passive wealth. I understand taxes and social media, right? Like we both have our strengths, but there's things outside of what we do that you guys need to learn about.
Yeah.
Having a guest on that's really good at XYZ, or having a CPA on to talk to you guys about, hey, we're coming up to the end of the year. These are all things that are going to be a part of the group coaching. Now, all of it's going to be recorded. So don't worry if you can't be on live, which I still highly recommend being on live because you can ask even more questions. You can always connect in the group, which is really cool. So you'll have access to the group. We'll have a WhatsApp as well, so you guys can chit chat outside of that. But I think the biggest thing is you're also going to get access to things like our listing packets. I know you've got a killer listing presentation, which we're going to be putting that together as well on video.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of different things, and everything is not going to come out immediately all at once. It's going to be as we're discussing it, we're going to give you those guides
Yep.
to help you continue. So one thing not to expect, we're not transcribing the entire thing and handing you a packet of notes as if you missed class and here's what you missed. You guys have to put in the effort, right? Like
Yeah.
signing up is not going to magically make you contracts. Signing up and starting that is going to help you get to the goal that you want, because now you've got some
Yeah.
guidance and you've got some proof in the pudding, right? When you start hearing your colleagues like, oh, I did the thing and this is what happened. Hell yeah. Like that's
Yeah.
real. It's really happening. And both James and I are doing it as well. So
Yeah. Yep. No, I think that's huge. And I think some of the most important things that you said was be there in person if you can for the group coaching call, because it's going to be the most important thing that you can do is to actually be present for that. Also, like try different ones out, right? $500 a month for group coaching, like you said, is more of a mastermind. Ours is going to be $70 essentially, but you're going to get 2 agents that have sold over 100 homes each other, over 100 million in closed transactions. We love financial freedom, and we are on the goal path of financial independence, and helping others get to that point. So it's and we both have experience in coaching, and we both have experience in being coached. So we're gonna bring it. It's gonna be really fun. I'm really excited about it.
I am too. It's gonna be pretty cool.
I'm just excited for the growth of individuals.
I will say, like being a coach, like it's something I got into quite honest. I came by it honestly, and it was someone, which I think I've shared with you this story. A girlfriend of mine, we're very close now, but she saw me on Facebook and she knew that I sold FSBOs and expired. And she randomly, she slipped, what is the phrase now, slipped into my DMs and said, hey, can I take you out to lunch? I want to learn how you do this. I want to know your scripts. I was like, sure. Now, mind you, guys, most times, and James, you probably had this happen to you. Most times when people ask me this or you this, they go and they take your information and they write it all down. And then a couple weeks later, they're like, well, give me the other secret sauce. This didn't work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, did you do it? Well, I did it twice and it didn't work. Okay, do it like 200 times and get really good.
Yes. Yeah.
Not an overnight success. So I went, I told her, and sure enough, I had a FSBO appointment that I was going out to about 2 weeks later, and they were no shows. And I called, they're like, oh, we had to go to my daughter's thing, blah, 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 whatever the excuse was. And here's a little bit of info for you guys. Get that appointment reset immediately, like as quickly as you possibly can timeline-wise.
Yep.
We just couldn't find a date that would work for them. And I'm like, all right, I wrote it off. It was not going to happen. And sure enough, I'm scrolling true, by the way, because I'd gone to the house, I'd researched the house, I did a CMA on the house, I knew what the house looked like. I
Yeah.
was scrolling Facebook, and as I'm scrolling, I see this house. And I'm like, whoa, 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 and pull it back down. I'm like, who ended up listing that?
Yeah.
Her. And I was like, no shit. So
Yeah.
I shoot her a message. I'm like, dude, how did you get, first off, congratulations. Second off, I'm pissed. Third off,
Yeah.
how did you get that? And
That's so
she,
funny.
yeah, and her response was, perfectly candid. She said, I did exactly what you told me to do. And I
Yeah.
was like, boom. And it was like my first instance of coaching someone and seeing that success of, I did what you told me to do. That works.
Yeah.
And here's what happened from it. And I was so excited. Like it gave me a jolt. Like obviously you guys are sitting here going, yeah, but you didn't get the listing. I didn't.
Yeah.
But I got so much joy out of the fact that someone applied the knowledge I gave them
Yeah.
and was successful with it. And to this day, like we still talk all the time and, she's crushing it. But that's what coaching can do, that little piece. And once again, it's to apply it. But, if you guys are curious of what this even feels or tastes like, definitely give it a shot. It's not something that's going to break the bank. But if you're trying to decide where to cut, don't go cutting expenses on your education. That's where you need to
No.
be putting money into right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why people would do that right now, because everybody's going to start doing that, and there's going to be little secrets out there. You're going to be able to work through stuff with your other cohorts and your coaches, right? On, okay, this isn't working in this market. What is working, right? And so those little secrets for $70 a month, if you get that, one little piece of advice that gets you a listing or gets you a buyer transaction or buys you a flip or a wholesale deal or a hard money deal, that
Yeah.
was so worth it. I
Oh
just,
yeah.
can't. But
I love it.
so
Well,
let us know if you guys have questions on the group coaching. We're going to be putting some stuff on Facebook. Feel free to DM, direct message Kaila or myself, and we'll give you all the info on that for sure.
yes, yes. And get ready, you guys. You're going to start getting hit up. We are coming up on Christmas. So the 25 days of Christmas starts the end of this week. How crazy is that?
That's crazy.
I know. So we're going to be shooting out tips and tricks for you guys to help not only get you through the end of the year, but
Yeah.
really kick off next year as a win. So, apply what you can, throw away what you can't. But if you at least apply one thing in the next 25 days, you're going to have a better outcome than you previously would. So thanks for joining us this morning. Again, drop some comments in the bottom. Let us know what your thoughts are, and we'll get all after it. And we'll see you guys next Monday on Coffee and
Awesome.
Contracts.
Thanks, Kaila.
Later, dude.
Hey, bye.